Hey there everybody, Game Haven here, and back with another air realistic battle video from War Thunder. Today we're featuring the Shenyang F-5, which is a MiG-17 variant, essentially with an afterburner, and that's basically it. That is basically the only difference between the MiG-17 AS, which is another premium from the Russian tech tree, and this one, which is a premium from the Chinese tech tree. This one is a battle rating 9.3 for realistic, whereas the MiG-17 AS is a battle rating 9.0. And while it does sometimes cause problems to be at a higher BR, I will say for the most part having the afterburner is kind of worth it in a lot of cases. Although recently with all of the air spawns for attackers, being able to get up to an altitude where the afterburner comes into play is sometimes challenging, but I just wanted to showcase this match because I think it's a pretty good example of how much this plane can carry when it's played correctly and in the right situations. So anyway, without further ado, let's go ahead and get into narrating this recording. I was intending to climb up, however, with this Harrier coming in so close, it wasn't very safe to keep on my trajectory because of how much speed he had. So I decided to go ahead and tail him because he was way out in front of the pack. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get a kill on this guy. He's chasing after MiG-21. I just barely missed my rounds here, which I'm not even sure how those missed. And he unfortunately takes out our friendly here. But I am able to get guns on the second time here, and he is critically damaged there. Second shot with the 37 mil, and he's done. Unfortunately, the kill gets stolen from me in a minute, but essentially that should have been kill number one. Second Harrier in front of me here, and our second MiG-21, I can't tell how much damage he's done, so I go ahead and fire off a missile because I wasn't really sure if this guy would pull out or not. Thankfully, I didn't get the kill steal for that. I'm glad. I don't like stealing kills. I just didn't know for sure how damaged that guy was. We're going to dodge the missile from what should have been our first kill. And as we dodge that, I notice we have a Corsair 2 coming in on my 6, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of a maneuver there under his nose. And I'm looking for an opportunity here to chase after this Corsair because he just bled a lot of speed trying to get guns on me. I noticed that my 6 is fairly clear, so I go ahead and pull around on this Corsair. He went vertical, so he's very slow, and that's perfect for my missile. And there's our first actual kill of the match right there with the PL-2 air-to-air missile, which is basically just a copy of the AIM-9B. We're going to go ahead and dodge another missile from that Corsair 2. Thankfully, I looked behind me just in time. I'm going to go ahead and get a reversal on this guy, so he's going a lot faster, but I am able to get a hit with guns. I believe it was a 23mm that hit there, but that 23 has damaged his engine pretty severely, and that will come into play later on. So, super big damage to that Corsair. He's going to keep flying, but he's not doing too hot. At this point in the match, I believe everyone on the team has died, except for me and my friend over yonder, who is also flying a Shenyang F-5. We are the last ones on our team at this point, so it's basically us versus, I believe, seven enemy players at this point. So, not looking so great for us. However, I decided I'm going to try to make it work. I'm going to try to take out as many as I can. Our friend is chasing after those that are on our 6, and this Corsair that we damaged earlier is going to pull right in front of us. Unfortunately, he pulls just above my guns. The one thing that the Shenyang F-5 does not do very well is roll. It does not have a very good roll rate, so sometimes it can be a little hard to get that elevator authority, but you know, it's not the elevator, excuse me, the aileron authority. So we went ahead and dodged an A4 there, and as I approach the Corsair and the A4, I noticed the Corsair pulling off harder, so I'm going to go ahead and try to get the A4 first. I missed the shots. As I come around, I need to start air braking because you will start to lock up around 1,000 kilometers per hour. And as I start air braking, I get the A4 on my 6, so I'm going to go ahead and do the only thing I can think of in this situation, and that is to get all of these guys into a sustained one-circle fight. And what that means is I'm going to try to get all of these three in a single turn with me going around in a circle. And the reason I'm going to do this is because 2 out of the 3 guys that I'm immediately fighting are Delta Wing aircraft. And so there we went ahead and took one of them out. And the reason that Delta Wings do not want to do these one-circle fights is because they have great nose authority, which means they can pitch their nose up a lot quicker than I can. But what they can't do is keep their energy in a turn. And so in a long turn like this, the MiG-17, the Shenyang F-5, well, and the MiG-17 are going to be able to keep their energy a lot better. And so if I can keep these guys turning the same direction, as you can see here, they are not going to be able to keep up with me. And so as I come around, I really want to get a shot on this F-8, but he's going to go ahead and try to extend away. And even though he's damaged, he is going to... I'm not going to risk it. I'm going to try to take out this A4 because he's even slower. And as I try to get guns on, unfortunately, he dodges right into the ground, and I do not get credit for that kill. So that's the second time. Actually, there was another guy who tried to shoot me earlier. I don't know if you saw it, but he crashed behind me because I pulled under his nose. So realistically, I really should have had five kills if you counted the maneuver kills by now. So that's unfortunate. But as you can see, this F-8's engine has basically completely petered out on him, and so I'm going to be able to catch him. I couldn't really tell exactly what was going on here, so I actually have, what you can't see on the screen, I have one 37mm round left, and I shot that right into his tail. So I wasn't sure how damaged he was, but I just went ahead and shot it. I figured, you know what, I have one 37mm round, I'm just going to shoot this guy and make sure I get the kill. There's no gaijin funny business with, you know, how long ago I crit him, because sometimes I've gotten crits before and then not gotten credited with kills. But I am completely out of ammo. I figure, you know what? I'm just going to tell everybody I'm out of ammo because worst case scenario, you know, they kill me, which I expected was going to happen at this point. Best case scenario, one of them says, hey, go rearm and we'll have a dogfight. So, but what I didn't know is I guess this A4 had damaged himself and he was just trying to get bombs dropped over here on the base. And so he asks... in a second here in the chat, hey, can you let me bomb first? And I'm like, dude, I have no ammo. Now, in retrospect, I probably shouldn't have said that. I probably should have just gone back to my base. He probably would have run away. But I'm like, whatever, go for it. I don't care. Like, honestly, at this point, there's 2 enemies left. I don't think I'm going to survive. So I'm like, dude, I'm out of ammo. I figure he's just going to take me out. But... he doesn't, actually. He goes back to his base, and when I see that, I'm like, okay, great. Well, this is an opportunity, because there's 2 guys left. This guy is clearly... it looks like he's stock, so I'm assuming that, you know, he's basically just trying to get ground targets at this point, and he's not really trying to tangle with anybody. So, really, it's just whoever else is left after that guy. And I don't know what type of plane it is at this point, but I suspect that it is something that will be slightly difficult because I believe the other guy that's left has 2 kills and is actually the top of the enemy team right now. So I'm going to go ahead and try to land as quickly as possible because I have not seen this second guy for quite some time, and I'm assuming he's probably coming back towards me pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and land here. And I guess I'll use this opportunity to just briefly discuss a couple other things that you're not going to see a whole lot of in this match that are still really, really great about the Shenyang F-5. And one of those things I briefly mentioned earlier is the afterburner. You're not going to really see a whole lot of performance improvement at low altitudes with the afterburner, though it will burn a whole lot more fuel. So a lot of times I just don't use it if I'm dogfighting at low altitude. It does give you a little bit better acceleration regardless of altitude, but it's a lot of times it's not worth the extra fuel cost depending on how much you bring, which, by the way, I generally bring 20 minutes of fuel, and I usually run out of ammo before I run out of fuel. Which, I don't know if you want to say that's a good thing or not, but that's kind of how it is with the guns on this thing. But the afterburner at high altitudes lets you actually do quite a bit against a lot of the 9.7s in the game. Even F-100s at 5, 6, 7,000 meters. The Afterburner really allows you to kind of stay in the fight, and they don't oftentimes expect you to perform that well, because a regular MiG-17 is not going to do very well at those altitudes. It does okay at 4 or 5,000 meters, but once you start getting higher than that, it doesn't usually do so hot, and this thing can keep up even beyond 7,000 meters, even up to 8 or 9,000. It can still maneuver somewhat. It can still keep its speed, so that kind of helps you. Like I said earlier, not as much as it used to with all of the attacker spawns, but definitely something to keep in mind for the future, I suppose, or for the odd circumstance in which you're able to get up to that altitude without being picked off first, and without having your whole team die first. And it's funny because this match, I was engaging people right off the bat, but my team still died before I could really do a whole lot. But at this point, I noticed this F-100. I went ahead and used an order to spot him because, well, number one, I wanted to know where he was, and number two, I didn't want him to know where I was as I was taking off from the airfield. So that's definitely something to keep in mind for regardless of what plane you're using. If you are the last guy on your team, go ahead and pop an order if you have to repair or if you have to do something. It lets you get the jump on people, and otherwise, they'll use the order to find you if you're the last guy. So I noticed, obviously, this is an F-100. I'm not going to be able to catch him. Afterburner, no afterburner, doesn't matter. The top speed of the Shenyang F-5 is the same as a regular MiG-17, is the same as a MiG-17 AS. It's not limited by the engine, it's limited by the actual wings, essentially. So the wing loading just can't handle any more speed than the MiG-17 engine can provide. So it's really just acceleration and high altitude performance that you're getting. But basically, I'm not going to catch this guy. So I asked him in the chat if he wanted to dogfight. I don't really know for sure. He didn't actually answer, but it seems like he wanted to because he ends up turning around towards me. I'm not sure if this guy had gotten back to base to rearm or repair. It doesn't look like he had, so I think he might have just been loitering, trying to wait for wait until I popped up. But regardless, he does decide to dogfight, so that's great for me. So as he approaches, because I know I'm not going to catch him and I don't know how much he's committed, I'm going to go ahead and fire a few shots at his nose. Almost landed those shots, and then I'm going to try to get a reversal, essentially. But the issue here is that he bleeds a lot more speed than I expected, and very nearly takes me out here. I'm doing everything I can to dodge, to roll around here, but as I said, the roll rate's not fantastic, so my best thing that I can do is just keep pulling the nose as hard as I can and get myself into the one circle fight with this guy. So that's what I'm going to do. He does almost take me out there, but I'm going to be air braking just a little bit to get down to my cornering speed, which is essentially about 5 to 550 kph. And that's basically, I don't know if I mentioned this earlier in the video, but that's the speed at which you're going to be able to make the fastest full circle turn. And when I say fastest, I don't mean like actual airspeed. I mean completing all the degrees of that turn in the shortest amount of time. And I am going to be able to do that in the long run much better than an F-100. As you can see here, I'm about to get on his 6. Unfortunately, the A4 is going to make that impossible. He's rearmed and repaired. Knowing what I know from previously, I'm going to go ahead and full commit. This guy's got a ground loadout. He doesn't really want to engage me, and I just can't risk it. So I went ahead and full committed. Most of the time I wouldn't do that, but knowing what I know about this guy from our previous engagement, I'm going to have to. And so I just can't have two guys on my 6 at this point. So I went ahead and took him out. I'm a little bit damaged, but even with that damage, you can see here, even with wing damage, I am still going to beat this F-100 in a sustained turn. And then he realizes that. Unfortunately, he realizes that too late, and I'm going to turn on that afterburner for just that extra little bit of acceleration, and I'm going to prime a missile and fire that right at him. The missile does a little... I'm not actually really sure what happened here and how he dodged that, because it didn't really look like he maneuvered at all, but regardless, the missile went stupid. I launch a second one at him to try to get him to maneuver. This time, he actually has to pull a pretty aggressive turn. And when he pulls that turn, he bleeds so much speed because he's in an F-100, and F-100s just bleed speed like you wouldn't believe. And so, because of that, I'm actually going to start catching him. Now, in the long run, he probably could have just extended away, but for whatever reason, he thinks that the best idea is to pitch up and get me to fly over his airfield guns, which I'm not super happy about, but I decide this is my chance. He's bleeding speed. I'm going to try to get guns on target. And I go ahead, pull around on his 6, and shoot his tail right off. His elevator's gone. His vertical stabilizer's gone. Everything's gone. He's completely done. And that is the last enemy teammate. And so all I have to do now is survive the AAA long enough for the match to end, and that's all she wrote. And so you can see here that the Shenyang F-5 is really a plane that you can carry a match in if you play your cards right. And also, you know, obviously depends on who your enemies are. If I was facing, I don't know, you know, 2 or 3 F-4C Phantoms, probably not going to be able to carry. But against the guys that are at my BR or slightly higher, I was able to carry. And that's something you're going to be able to do pretty frequently, to be completely honest with you. And you can see there that we got 5 kills, 1 assist, and I'll go ahead and show the results here, so in case you guys care about that. But if you count the assist, which really was somebody stealing my kill, and the 2 people that crashed maneuvering trying to kill me, which I count as maneuver kills, or I feel like they should be, that really would have been 8 kills. So essentially, I just one Shenyang F-5 took 8 other players out of the match, and this is, you have to remember, this is, I believe, a 10.0 BR, at least a 9.7, so we're not even top BR at this in this match. So all this to say, not to show piloting skills primarily, but really just to show the performance of this airframe and what it's capable of when you play to its strengths. I really do recommend this for those of you who want to grind the Chinese tech tree. I would obviously recommend buying it when it's on sale, and there really aren't that many options obviously right now for premiums for China. But even regardless, if you're not grinding anything, just for the fun of it, the Shenyang F-5 is a blast. It's a really big blast. It's a blast to play. I'm not a particularly good pilot, and my KD ratio I think is actually like 4 or 5 with this plane. And also my win rate with it is, I think, somewhere around 70, 75, maybe even 80%, which is insane. Part of that is the BR that you're at. Russians just are doing really well right now. But, well, Russians and I guess Chinese are doing really well right now. But anyway, I hope this video gave you a taste of what the Shenyang F-5 is capable of. And I look forward to the next opportunity I get to share some content with you all. So with that, I will say goodbye and look forward to next time.